Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is a quick video on motivation. There's nothing for sale, it's just some ideas that I've found helpful that I want to share to do with the brain and biology. Go out and face the dragon rather than waiting for it to come and devour you, and today's dragon is laziness or can't be arsedness. You might be thinking, oh no, just another motivational video. However, repetition is very important for habits and also as is top-ups, so I regularly need to remind myself to be grateful, and I like a little bit of a motivation boost now and again, and it's good to learn things from different people to keep it all fresh. My name's Sarah and I'm a movement teacher and biochemist. Let's begin with Brain 101. So your brain is wired for survival rather than performance, and it'll do its absolute best to keep you safe. That's its main priority. Now, your brain can sometimes go over the top with keeping you safe, leading to things like anxiety, and that's why negative comments, even just one or two, really get to us, whereas we could have loads of positive comments and it doesn't seem to make any difference. Our brain perceives the negative comments as being under attack. It wants to protect you. The brain can be a bit perverse, so even though it likes to stay the same because it's safe, it thrives on novelty. And learning or doing something new can seem a little bit daunting to start with, and people become a bit hesitant. Our brains love a reward, and this comes from dopamine. And dopamine's a neurotransmitter involved in motivation, learning, movement, and also addiction. So a little bit more about dopamine later. Summarise quickly in a little example, because different people have different motivation goals. So mine is to tidy up. So whenever I need to tidy up, I get this writhing inside feeling to try and stop me doing it. So it's just my brain trying to make me stay the same, or the room stay the same. But once I force myself to get going, I start to move about, then by the end it's all lovely and tidy. I find socks and also money, so I get multiple rewards at the end, so it was all worth it. Nerves that wire together, fire together. So this means that if you stimulate one part of the brain, neighbouring bits of the brain get switched on and stimulated as well. So it's a bit like when your neighbour has a barbecue. Quite a lot of the time, other people in the neighbourhood decide to have a barbecue as well. We won't get all technical with brain biology. We'll just talk about the frontal lobe or the cortex. Now, the frontal lobe or the cortex is like the CEO in the brain, and it controls logic, planning, motivation, your personality, mood, all sorts of sort of executive or higher level functions. Also in the cortex is the movement center of the brain. So that means when you move about, you're going to stimulate the motor cortex, and because nerves that wire together fire together, you're going to light up other parts in the brain or other parts of the cortex. Sort of like switching lights on in a building when people go in ready to work in that building. And we all agree that exercising makes us feel better afterwards, so there we have our reward. There are lots of different ways to become motivated, and we're all different, and different things appeal to different people. In order to be motivated to do something, in essence, we're moving away from something like a pain and towards a pleasure like a goal. So I'll use my tidying as an example. So I'm going to choose 3 things which I hate about being untidy. So it makes me chaotic, disorganised, and I feel ashamed. And then once I've tidied up, I feel in control, proud and organised. So straight away that's given me a motivation to tidy. So that example is for people who have a specific goal, not necessarily tidying. It might be exercise, it might be weight management, it could be all sorts of things. So that would be listing 2 to 3 things that you absolutely hate about your situation and feel why you hate it as well, and then 2 to 3 things of how you're going to feel and what reward you're going to get once you've achieved that. So that's the essence of motivating. There's nothing wrong with seeing therapists and things for motivation, but a lot of people will get you to do that as an exercise, but you can just do it at home by yourself. As I've mentioned, emotions are important in getting people going. I'm very interested in history, politics, all kinds of religion, and those are very hot topics and people get very excited at these. So this is good because it provokes emotion. So what I do, I go and collect quotes and sayings from my favourite prime ministers, presidents, people from history, all kinds of different religions, different sayings. I won't go into detail because you've got the idea that it's kind of quite personal. You'll have your own people that you look up to and they will have said or done something that motivates you, so you can use what they said in order to help yourself get going. Again, this might not be for you. You might want to get motivation from somebody you can identify with. Like my customer who's 75 with arthritis everywhere, who informed me that last lockdown she walked 900 miles. So that's, could walk across the country. And that really stuck with me because I've got absolutely no excuse not to go out for a walk. And I found that very motivating and very helpful. Finally, for the biology. So like I said, dopamine is involved in motivation, reward, addiction and movement. And if you keep flooding or bombarding your dopamine system with things like really tasty junk food and sugar, too much social media that's really exciting, too many exciting films, too much shopping, too much internet gambling, I don't know what you do. What happens is the whole system gets sort of desensitized, and then really you can't get any pleasure or motivation out of really, really simple things like just going for a walk. And then when this dopamine system goes out of control, everything just seems really boring and you just can't be bothered unless you get a massive, great big dopamine flood. For the final example, you need to try and get rid of the high dopamine stimulating things in your life to kind of reset the system. That's why people go on retreats where they sometimes don't even talk to anybody for 3 or 4 days to reset the system. And then what happens is when you start to do something quite simple like going for a walk or exercising, you get a dopamine trickle, but that's enough to motivate you and please you to make you do more. Then my final point on motivation is that some people get really, really excited. They've got a massive goal, but it's like this massive mountain that you could easily fall down. So why not start with a little goal or a hill, something small? And finally, really simple, even if you just try, it's better than where you are now. So you've basically got nothing to lose. So thank you very much for listening and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.